the story is set, but we have molded the opinion. We leave the rest. So to our next story. You know, it is said that a successful negotiation is not about getting to say yes. It's about mastering no and understanding what the path to an agreement is. Now, one cheering news in this connection is that both the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, have concluded their closed-door meeting with an agreement to resolve all contentious issues leading to a possible strike prevention, if you see what I mean. At the meeting were Education Minister Professor Tahir Maman, the Minister of State Yusuf Sununu, while ASUU's delegation was led by its president, Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke. He told reporters at the end of the 2-hour parley that negotiations had commenced and expressed the hope that the federal government would follow through on their 2009 agreements. Peace, we must remind us, is not the absence of conflict. It is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means. Let's share the story by TVC News. Helen Osamede Ekins with you. Let's go there.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities had threatened to embark on a nationwide strike as a protest for their demands on staff welfare and other administrative matters. They accused the federal government of refusing to address all outstanding issues with the union.
The first stanza of the national anthem.
Here, the ministers of education are meeting with members of the union with the aim to addressing the issues of the proposed strike and other issues affecting the union and their institutions.
A letter from the Academic Staff Union of the universities detailing a number of issues and concerns that affect the university and the unions, which they want to interact, which require interaction with the government officials through the ministry on it.
Promise of the president and commander-in-chief that there should not be strike in the university system or any form of this. But we believe that before now we would have started some of these things, but we still believe that there's no hope. I hope that this is going to resolve some of these issues so that we can move forward as a country and as a university.
After 2 hours of a closed-door meeting with the academic union, journalists were briefed on the outcome.
A lot of consultations will still continue on some information we don't have, which we need to have. Some things are beyond the scope of the ministry, which require us to connect with our colleagues in other ministries.
For people to look at, send 1 or 2 committees to also look at them, and then we have agreed on the way forward. But we'll go back and give the details to our members at our next meeting. So, but at least we have started a process.
Some of the issues in contention are removal from IPPIS, renegotiation of the 2009 federal government ASUU agreement, demand for all the backlog of earned academic allowance and all their outstanding salaries, among others. Helen Osamede Ekins, TVC News, Abuja.
Okay. All right, folks, welcome back. I hear we will go to the nation's capital, Abuja, for the MSME award, but then the program continues on other channels. So, CKN, if peace gets, agreed to by ASUU, at least it will be good night to sleepless nights and anxiety for parents and students alike.
Yeah, it should be. And this is what we have always been saying. When ASUU talk or raise issues, there's a need for federal government to call them and have some kind of discourse with them. And, you know, just like last segment, we talk about warring and joining.
Yeah.
There is nothing
we talked about. Peace, it's a two-way street.
It's a two-way. There is no need to go war, join, because in the course of joining, a lot of things will be agreed, discussed. Those you can do and those you cannot do, those you can accept and those you cannot. So I just like the approach the current government is taking. And you can say that a full complement of the ministry is there. The Minister of Education is the Minister of State is there, or was there, as it were. And what are the issues raised by ASUU? One was the IPPIS. The two, you remember the popular IPPIS. In fact, at a point, BKO carry for head, practically, you know. BKO was, in fact, ASUU should give BKO an award because they practically carried that case.
I'm monetize it.
They should monetize it.
So I can use the proceeds to do my agri care.
You may think that I was joking when I was talking about. I'm not joking about the agri.
Okay.
BKO has started farming, and you need to go to his page to see what I'm saying. BKO, I need to be going to BKO to get okra.
I saw him on a farm.
No, the thing
he covered.
No, you're talking as well. I say okra day in farm now. I will tell my wife when we meet now, we'll go to BKO for okra. But back to what we are saying. We're also talking about the 2009 agreement. Backlog of earned academic allowances here and study salaries.
All right.
You want to say something?
We must make some money. So we'll go on a commercial break now. We should be back shortly. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices were echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything. If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all. Their demands, a familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum.
Yeah, as we were saying.
Yes, as I was saying. So the government have agreed to talk to them. You know that they were given about a 2 weeks notice, and that if something is not done, that they will go on strike. But now, based on the discussion they had with ASUU, I think they don't cool temper now. So, but I hope that the promises being made by the federal government will be redeemed. It will, so that it's not like what we had in the past.
Yeah.
We had government made promises, told us we will do this, we will do that. At the end of it, they renege on it, and that in itself causes a problem. But I totally agree with this approach. The current Minister of Education, who was also a former Vice Chancellor, I believe he knows the implication of having such a meeting and the impact it will have in our health sector. Yeah. So let's see how that pans out.
Because it can only get better. I
hope it gets better.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't know why governments in our country always prefer that labor uses the strike card
option
before they do what is right. Look at the matter of IPs, which is the payment platform for tertiary institutions in our country. IPs is a cost to the university system. We've spoken about this repeatedly.
Yeah.
And it is not difficult for anybody who has gone through the university system, who was a VC, to know that IPs is a cost. Because IPs...
Little wonder UTAS came.
No, just let me finish what I'm saying. UTAS has not come. IPs is unitary in nature. It's rigid.
All right.
For example, because it's centrally controlled. If, for example, the university, the VC, the university management decide to suspend someone without pay, maybe for 2 weeks or for 1 month, that person will still collect his salary.
IPPIS regardless?
Yes. There is a federal university in the North Central, I will not mention the state, that decided to hire an academic from Covenant University for 27 months. They've not regularized that transition. That professor.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Never knew this.
No, this is how bad it is. And they went to court. They won in court. At the, what was it called? Industrial court. The industrial court ordered the federal government to remove tertiary institutions in our country from IPs.
The payment plan.
They, up to today, they refuse to implement it. And no reason has been given. So why would you not implement something even after the court said, okay, from now on, we don't want IPs? How do you have a situation in which universities thrive on exchange of trade in knowledge? Whereby somebody comes from another, you cannot pay that person, because to pay him, you have to get
clearance.
IPs involved. Sometimes this thing can take, even when they promote people. Well, it may not reflect in your salary.
IPPI.
This is what IPPI, and there is no guarantee. We've seen over time now that you've not even been able to stop corruption through the IPs. Wow. So why do we have a situation in which we keep provoking the Osodekers of this world to think of a strike? The 2009 agreement, they went on strike for about 6 months over it. Till today, the content of the agreement is still not implemented. They are supposed to constantly review the agreement. No one is saying implement in total. I don't know where Nigerians got that in lingo. But me too, I'm joining them.
It's borrowed. Borrowed.
No one is saying that in total you must implement the thing. But there's provision for renegotiation of the agreement.
Yes, yes.
Government after government in our country are reluctant to renegotiate these things. And there are other issues like their salary that was withheld. They've been pleading, pay these allowances, pay this. You don't pay. You are pushing them until now. When they started threatening that they will go on strike, that is when we called them. The minister made a promise that they will disenroll this academic staff from IPs. He made a promise. He cannot deny it. He made a promise. We were even thinking that as early as January, they will have disenrolled them from the evil platform. But till today, at least their last salary, talking about disharmony between labor and government. But it seems that with every government that comes in, these things continue. And it's the same way that we approach issues. We wait until the last minute when they are threatening us to strike. That is when we now say, okay, come gentlemen. You will not hold meetings with them until they are issuing threats that they want to go on strike. And these people, we know them, they can go on strike until Jesus comes back. They have the motivation to go on strike for as long as they want. These university lecturers, they will be starving, but they will not end the strike. This is their nature. They've done it before. We sent them 6 months. 6 months. And without pay, they continue the strike. We don't want that, because you cause so much strain to students. Those who are supposed to graduate this year will have to graduate the next year. Such unnecessary disruption to academic program.
Avoidable.
We don't want it. Deal with this issue. You lost in court. disenroll them from IPs. Obey the order of the court. It's as simple as that. Then if you can do that, then negotiate the 2009 agreement. Government is a continuum. Negotiate it. Tell them this is what you can pay. Come to an agreement. Let's have peace within our every towers. This is my take.
Yeah. CKN, and at a time like this, you begin to talk about half-baked graduates. It affects output, if you see what I mean.
Yes.
After listening to...
Yes, it does. For me, I want to give the minister or the two ministers the benefit of the doubt. And that is what ASUU is doing. What ASUU is doing is that probably they still believe that the Nigerian government have learned nothing. But they want to give them the benefit. Let it not be tomorrow. They say, okay, after all, you are supposed to go into a negotiation. And they have made a promise now. And I want to believe that the minister, and not just the minister, the government, the federal, just as BK said, government is a continuum. If there was a negotiation in 2009, whether that negotiation was implemented by the government or not, once you have, I've said it time and time again, when you're in government, when you take over government, either as a governor, president, or local government, you take up both the liability and the assets. You don't just come and say, oh, I'll take up the assets. Of course, who really the liability? Because you have agreed, you know what the problem is, and you have agreed that this is the way you want to go. So you take up both. So you cannot say, oh, it was the last government that negotiated. Government is a continuum, and that issue has been. And there's even been a point where they've shifted ground. I know that ASUU shifted ground at a point on some of these issues. But if the issue of IPs is an issue, I don't know why I want to believe that there's something fundamental within that IPs that some people are benefiting from.
Okay.
So much.
There's something that are benefiting from.
The minister promised. Would they not turn that child?
Who does that?
Wow.
If you bring up a child to imagine that even if I get to school late, that it doesn't matter.
That's it.
That's what that child will continue to do even when he becomes an adult.
That's it.
You know,
that's it.
He will not give a hoot about punctuality.
Because of the crazy indulgence.
Yes. Some parents, that's why we see why has morality literally collapsed in our country? Because we have parents who themselves need to be parented. To be parented. Yes. That is the thing.
Because I hear you cannot flog a child.
You're going to teach.
It will show.
Your own children.
Yeah.
Rather than allow your children to do little things in the home, you prefer to go and do it for them. You are a silly parent.
Haven't you heard?
Let the boy wash his plate. You prefer that someone else.
Gentlemen, haven't you heard some parents say, oh, the thing where I suffer, make my child not suffer?
Okay.
You see, so that they don't distract us, these ill-bred parents that we're talking about, so that they don't distract us on the subject matter.
Yeah.
This, one of the best things that I've seen this government do is this nail fund thing.
Yeah.
Yes, the idea actually came during the Buhari regime, because that bill was sponsored by the Speaker of the House of Reps then, Femi Gbajabiamila. But we've seen them tweak it again and again, presented to the president, they took it back again, reworked, so that we can have something that everyone can be happy about. Some of the difficult conditions that were put in that act were removed, so that the son of a nobody can be able to access the loan.
Take advantage, yeah.
So, and I'm happy, you know, the eligibility criteria, they relaxed it. So that you don't then see it as something that, oh, is that they made it for the children of the rich and all that. So, I'm happy 35 billion has been set aside now for 70,000 successful applicants. Those ones, and those successful applicants will be paid 20,000 every month as a kind of upkeep allowance. Then the second phase, which itself should have kicked off, was delayed because, according to Nelfund, the universities, that is only 20 out of 48 state universities, you know.
Okay.
State universities are supposed to be accommodated in the second phase. Only 20 out of 48 universities actually provided data, you know, about their students. And it's from this data that they will see those who are qualified and all that. And for polytechnics, only 2 out of 49 polytechnics and 12 out of 54 colleges of education have uploaded. So if these students are feeling like they've been brushed aside, no, they've not been brushed aside. It is just that their schools have been delaying the upload of the data that Nelfund needs to work on those applications. So at this point, they've had to postpone it by 14 days to enable those schools provide the data that Nelfund needs. But I think that this is something that is commendable. I've spoken before about this big lawyer, Awumolo, who said that, look, the student loan thing was what he used to graduate from the university. That they had it at that time.
I remember in the 70s when the thing was.
That was what he exploited. Just like Jakonde allowing Awolowo, you know, allowing people to go to school by giving them free education. So this is like free education
from it,
in another way, by taking that burden of parents. So it really helps, and I'm happy.
CKN, we're getting someplace.
Yes, we're getting someplace. Initially, I had my doubts, the workability of this loan scheme. Don't forget, this was one of the promises that the president made.
Has the doubt gone?
Yes, that's what I'm going to. You know, it was one of the promises that the president made during his campaign. Yes, it was one of the key. I remember he spoke extensively about this during his campaign. And I believe because of that, most Nigerians also believe in tagging along with him. But my confidence was now renewed when I saw who the president picked as the chairman of that committee, in the person of Mr. Jim Ovia. You know, most of this, when you pick technocrats, it's easier for you to be able to. If you are picked a civil servant, you know the same civil or PAMSEC, one of these PAMSEC or whatever.
As they say, a team is as good as the
That is what I'm saying. If you have picked them, the same thing that happened in the selection of members of the university governing council will happen. You know that the president had to be able to drop that and say no, that there are certain things he saw which were not good enough. The president had to vet it himself personally again before he came.
We complained.
Yes, you know, even journalists in Hanga will complain about it. So
you observe that everybody is quiet.
Nobody said. Didn't you see that nobody said anything about it? Yes, nobody said anything. Everybody said
do something the right.
That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. So if we get it right, even this one, those that have their doubts, somebody like Jim Ovia is not somebody you can be able to bribe and say he wants, because he has a name to protect.
What do you want to take?
What you want to get? Person will get bank, get everything. So what I'm saying is that, so that has, and I believe that it will be, my only challenge is, like BK said, where the schools are not even doing what they're supposed to do. Where you look at the state university, out of about 49, only 20. It reminds me of, is it UBEC fund, or which one is it? There's this fund that the federal government normally give loans to universities, to a state, and I said yes, as a type one, and ask the state a counterpart funding about 50% for them to be assessed. Do you know that so many of these states who are having very serious issues in their academics, they don't. UBEC is UBEC. They don't make available those funds to assess. In fact, the executive secretary of that fund one time called and said, what is wrong with you people?
Who are owing wife fees?
People that are owing Wale. We have this citizen. We have 1 billion naira for you as a state. All we are just saying that bring your own 1 billion. We put together and we just leave. They refuse to do that. That is, and some of them as our leaders.
Not their priority.
And education should be the priority of any government. Education. If you get it wrong, every nation of the world, if you see how much they are investing in education, you can. Citizens, have you ever thought of it that UNESCO have a guideline as to the level of percentage?
25?
That percentage that is, we have never, I don't think we ever met this in the last 30 or 40 years.
Except some states. I think they're no good.
You will see that we have
current governor.
But he's just one in the minority. Even at the federal level, we have not been able to do this. And we pay this service to education. So I hope that we'll be able to get it right. Because, as you rightly said, so many, and these so-called leaders today, I'm using the word quote unquote, so many of our so-called leaders, they wouldn't have gone to school if not for Awolowo's free education. Most of them, they are from very, very poor homes.
Very poor background.
Very, very poor homes. They wouldn't have made it to secondary school, even university. I remember in my days at Lagos State University, I paid no tuition fee until I graduated in 1990. Yes, we are not paying. We are not. What we are just paying is just the basic 150 or 100. I say 100. 105 naira, not 100. This thing.
I was paying 90 naira.
My secondary citizen. Let me just listen. My secondary school. From class 1, we are the secondary students. Okay. From class 1 to 5, I didn't pay. My parents didn't pay a dime, and here I am today. So what I'm saying is that we should be able to.
Makes me remember the 4 cardinal points of the UPN.
Yeah, of course, education was key, and because the leaders then saw the vision that if you educate, what's able to educate a man, just let go. My father used to say something then that I don't have any house in Lagos. I don't have any house anywhere, but I will give you and your twin brother education. That will lead you to the end. Here we are today.
Okay, all right, folks.
Put the fishing net in your hand.
That's just it. We just have to teach you. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, folks, we are done, but not before thanking Babajide Kolade Otito-Jubike. I thank you very kindly.
Your citizen.
And Chris Kehinde Wandu.
I always ask the farmer, so that I can be able to get things from Babajide.
Okay,
it's nice to be here. We are looking for land now.
That's it.
Yeah.
From the Ogun State government.
That is,
have more land.
Yeah.
Kind of land that Lagos doesn't have.
Yes, there is, yes.
If we have land, we will take it much higher.
That is all.
We're getting there.
I'll be part of that.